I'd like to know the status of the Maharlika Investment Fund because for the last 2 years, the President did not make any mention about the MIF in his SONAs. And since Congress has the innate power of innate oversight function, I believe we ought to know the status of the Maharlika Investment Fund.
Congressman Paulo Marcoleta, hinanapan si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos at si Ralph Recto sa pera ng Maharlika Fund at kung nasaan na ang mga proyektong nagawa nito dahil maging ang Pangulo ay walang sinabi kahit man lang sa kanyang mga SONA kung ano na ang nagawa niya gamit ang pera ng Maharlika Fund. Pero bago ang lahat, mag-subscribe na sa aking YouTube channel upang updated ka sa mga mahahalagang balita sa ating bansa. Tila naungkat nga ni Paulo Marcoleta ang tungkol sa Maharlika Fund sa kanilang latest session kung saan ang budget at pondo ng Pilipinas ang pinag-uusapan. Tanong ni Congressman Marcoleta ay nasaan na nga ba ang pera ng Maharlika Fund at kung may mga proyekto na bang nagawa?
Next would be Representative Paulo Henry Marcoleta. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to know the status of the Maharlika Investment Fund because for the last 2 years, the President did not make any mention about the MIF in his SONAs. And since Congress has the innate power of innate oversight function, I believe we ought to know the status of the Maharlika Investment Fund. And I believe you have also been endowed with repertorial requirements. And what mechanisms are in place to ensure the transparency of these multi-million investments that were made? I believe early this year there were investments made already by the Maharlika Investment Fund.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, it is true that we report to Congress yearly. I think there are documents submitted to Congress to provide status with regard to the investments of Maharlika. Essentially, Maharlika has invested in 2 projects. One is NGCP, 20% of 2 board seats in NGCP, roughly 20 billion pesos. And another is in a mining, Makilala Mining. That's how much? A bridge loan right now of roughly $10 million. The balance, there's 75 billion available. The balance is with Treasury. So it's earning interest on its investment in Treasury bonds. It has provided dividends to the national government of roughly 2.4 billion, if I recall. 1.4 billion in dividends to the national government.
Thank you, Madam.
It's a paper submitted to Congress.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Secretary. And since the Maharlika Investment Fund is an additional source of revenue, can we tap into this fund to fund programs? Halimbawa po, yung pong binanggit ni Congressman Lian kanina, to reduce the VAT from 12 to 10%. At meron din pong mga panukala dito na inihain kami, mga panukalang batas na kung pwede po yung kuryente na binabayad ng consumers ay yung VAT na pinapataw sa kuryente ay kung maaari ay i-waive na din. Pwede po kayang dito kunin sa Maharlika Investment Fund?
Yung Maharlika Investment, para sa investment, ang pwede niyang gawin, halimbawa, it is considering investing in the grid operations, halimbawa sa Mindoro o yung mga spag areas na walang napakalang kuryente, doon tumitingin ang Maharlika Investment Fund, possibility of investing there. So energy, physical infrastructure, food and agriculture modernization, these are the themes that Maharlika is looking into. And a few more.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Secretary. My number 2 question is directed to the DBM Secretary. During last week's briefing by the Committee on Public Accounts with the DPWH, in their presentation, they related to us that there have been significant budget cuts in foreign assisted projects. And these foreign assisted projects composed mainly of infrastructure flagship projects, yung mga importanteng mga infrastructure projects ng ating bansa. In 2023, there is an 88% budget cut. From 70 billion, naging 7.9 billion na lang po ang budget for foreign assisted projects. In 2024, 100% budget cut. So wala pong nailaan sa foreign assisted projects. At ngayon, itong 2025, 67% budget cut. From 70 billion, naging 23 billion na lang po ang inilaan sa foreign assisted projects. Now, Madam Chair and Madam Secretary, I'd like to know on the long-term implication of this continued defunding of these foreign assisted projects. Hindi po ba tayo na-penalize ng ating mga international partners pag hindi po tayo nagbabayad? At yung pong, ang alam ko po kasi, itong mga foreign assisted projects are being defunded and they go to unprogrammed allocation ng ilang district congressmen. Ano po bang mas mahalaga sa atin, yung pong mga flagship projects na malalaki na mas maraming naikinabang o yung mga pet projects po, local pet projects po ng mga district congs? So yung gusto ko malaman ang implication kung patuloy pong i-defund itong mga foreign assisted projects po natin.
Madam Chair, tama po kayo. Pag ma-defund po yung ating mga foreign assisted projects, magkakaroon po ng delay dito sa ating mga proyekto. And meron din po tayong binabayaran na commitment fees. Pag tayo po ay hindi nakakapagbayad on time nung
Magkano po yung commitment fees?
natin. Kunin ko lang po yung exact number.
Hindi po ba tayo on the losing end pag ganyan po we continue to pay penalties for defaults or non-payment of these contracts?
Meron po, we're just looking at that. Sorry,
Yes, the commitment fees in 2024 is roughly $16.8 million, 962 million pesos.
Ang binayad po natin.
Commitment fees due to delay.
Opo. Ano po kaya ang protected mechanisms in place, Madam Secretary, para masigurado natin na hindi po tayo ganitong natatalo sa hindi po pagbabayad ng mga multi-year contracts na ito. Samantalang ito naman po itumaan sa iba't ibang level ng approval sa mga sangayon ng gobyerno. Ano po kayong magagawa natin para hindi po magpatuloy yung ganitong trend?
Well, unang-una, kung ang tinukoy kanina ay tungkol sa unprogrammed appropriations, hindi na dapat gawin ng Kongreso yung paglipat ng foreign assisted projects mula sa program sa unprogrammed. Dahil unang-una, nade-delay yung mga project, nagbabayad tayo ng commitment fees, at lumalaki ang deficit ng ating pamahalaan. So yun ang unang-una. Pangalawa, maraming nade-delay because also of the pandemic. Karang 2 taon. Nagkaroon tayo ng pandemic. So, budget execution is also important as far as the executive is concerned. Nasiguraduhin before we borrow money, we make sure that the project is can be implemented properly.
Thank you po, Mr. Secretary, Madam Chair. Thank you for the enlightenment po. At sana po, with the new stewardship of our chairperson, sana po ay hindi po mangyari ito sa 20th Congress dahil tayo po ang kawawa kung nagbabayad po tayo ng mga commitment fees sa mga project na dinedelay dahil hindi po natin binabayaran ito at napupunta po sa mga maliliit lamang na mga proyekto. Salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Representative Marcoleta. If any po, on the part of the committee, may we request for a list of foreign assisted projects funded under the NEP that we are obligated to fund, otherwise we will incur commitment fees?
It's in the BASF po, Madam Chair.
Okay. Comprehensive na po yung nasa BSF.
Yes.
So, all of
Dito
it
po
is
lahat.
there. Okay. Okay pa. Noted. We will look into that, Representative Marcoleta, and the revelation then na yung pala yung impact niya in terms of commitment fees. Thank you very much. Next to interpolate on the part of the majority, Representative Mark Coangco.
Hello, Madam Chairperson. My comments and questions are for the entire DBCC. Maybe Secretary Balisacan and Secretary Recto can give comments. My question would be, what would be the effect of cheaper electricity on our economy? Sa ngayon po, ang wholesale price sa mga auction is around 7 pesos per kilowatt hour. What would be the effect if this dropped down to 5 pesos per kilowatt hour? Would it be good for our economy? Could Secretary Balisacan, Secretary Recto comment, please?
Definitely, because it is well recognized that the high cost of power is a major constraint to our competitiveness, our global competitiveness, and also for the delivery of public services, including households' needs for power, cheaper power. So definitely, there's it will definitely boost economic activity, boost our international competitiveness, and it will redound into higher purchasing power for our consumers because of the reduction in cost.
Secretary Recto.
Yes, I share the same sentiments, Madam Chair.
Okay, so the 5 pesos per kilowatt hour wholesale price is a price that allows recovery of capital investment over a 20-year period. Nuclear plants usually last 80 years. So after the capital recovery period, the EIA data shows us that operating and maintenance cost of nuclear plants, this includes fuel, waste disposal, end-of-life decommissioning, regulation, amounts to 1 peso and 30 centavos per kilowatt hour. This is the average cost of the 94-unit American fleet in America. So let's say sa 1 peso and 30 centavos, pinatungan po ito ng 1 piso para kumita at naging 2 pesos and 30, sabihin na natin 2 peso and 50 centavos per kilowatt hour. Kung ganun po ang maging wholesale price ng kuryente, tingin ko pwedeng mangalahati ang presyo ng kuryente sa Pilipinas. Kung ganun kalaki po ang bagsak ng presyo ng kuryente, maganda ba para sa Philippine economy?
Definitely, ho.
Secretary Recto.
I agree totally.
Okay, so meron po tayong nuclear assets. May nuclear assets po ang Pilipinas. Isang napakagandang naisagawa na nuclear plant sa Batan, our PNPP-1 nuclear plant. Nuclear plant po, may nuclear village tayo sa Bagak, may power line po tayo connecting that plant to Metro Manila. Meron po tayong CBK pump storage facility na pilit ibenta ng ating PISAM. By the way, for the knowledge of everyone here, I have appealed to the Supreme Court to block the sale of the CBK pump storage because it forms part of the nuclear assets of the Philippines. Kausap ko po ang KEXIM Bank sa Korea. Ang sabi nila, you need 15% equity for us to finance you. Let's say, ang PNPP-1 po, nuclear assets ng Pilipinas, are worth $2 billion. It means we can borrow $14 billion to build, aside from the existing nuclear plant, 3 more 1 gigawatt nuclear plants in Bataan. That would be equivalent to 3,920 megawatts. So answering our shortage in power capacity well into the mid-1930s. Don't you think, Your Honors, that we need to preserve the Bataan nuclear assets? We need to operate the Bataan nuclear assets so that we could take advantage of this equity value of this nuclear plant.
I'm not aware of an assessment yet of the Department of Energy on that, but I think they are also.
Anyway, Your Honors, I have stated it for the record, so it is now on the record. Madam Chair, may I make 1 or 2 more comments to wind up?
Maybe just one, Representative
Okay.
Franco, because we've already passed the time, expired na po.
Okay. Ang huling statement ko po, ang bawat isang nuclear plant na 1 gigawatt, 1,000 megawatts, will avoid the importation of approximately $500 million worth of fossil fuel every year. Our coal capacity now is about 65% of our total generating capacity, around 16,000 megawatts. So, nag-i-import po tayo ng around $8 billion every year. By 2040, magdodoble po yan, $16 billion a year. Kung nuclear po tayo, wala po yung importasyon na yan. Let that be on the record, Madam.